Welcome to VPerform, a performance management system for Vedanta Group. We will explain the performance management system for M3 and above employees in this video. This video will take approximately 10 minutes to give complete overview of how you will use the software for your performance management. Vedanta's performance management process is designed around setting the goals and reviewing the achievements every quarter. Managers will have performance discussions with the employees every quarter to review the progress. We will now be taking you through a detailed view of the technology platform and the process steps as mentioned in the workflow. Employees will receive email with detailed instructions for logging into VPerform PMS software. Once logged in, the employee will see a homepage. The overall performance management process is depicted here. For completing any of the action in the review process, the employee can click the Proceed to My Action Items button. You can also navigate to the left menu and click My Action Items link under the Performance header. My Action Items page displays the list of pending activities that the logged in person has to perform. Goal setting process workflow. We will now look at the goal setting phase, which will show how to set goals and approve goals during the beginning of the year. Employees have to set annual targets in line with their business and location goals. Individual goal setting, guiding principles. Several KPIs are added into a predefined library. You can click on the Choose from KPI Library link, which will display a pop-up. The KPI library will display the goals for all 4 categories defined for the respective functions. Employees can also search and refer KPIs from other functions in the library and add the same if required. An employee can add KPIs using the Add KPI link under each category. The employee needs to enter quarterly targets for every goal on a cumulative basis. You can also link your goals to your manager's goals by clicking on the Link Goals option provided for each KPI. If your manager goals are not finalized in the system, you cannot link the goals. You will see a No Records Found message. For the employee value creation bucket, an employee is required to fill in only a single target for the year. There is no weightage associated with the value creation section, and it is optional for the employee to add the same. It is important that you should meet the design principles while setting the KPI. If all the design principles are met, the employee can submit the KPIs, which will then go to their managers for approval. To approve the goals, the manager has to proceed to My Action Items and click on the Approve KPIs link for the corresponding employee. The manager can view the KPIs, edit the KPIs set by the employee. After reviewing, the manager can either reject or approve the goals. If the goals are rejected, the goal setting process is reopened to the employee for the required modifications. Employee can modify the goals and resubmit it to the manager for approving goals. If the goals are approved, these goals are finalized for the employee and the goal setting phase is completed. Quarterly assessment, process workflow. Each employee is required to conduct a self-assessment at the end of quarter 1. In order to access the self-assessment page, the employee will have to proceed to My Action Items and click on the self-assessment link. Employee would need to enter his achieved target for the particular quarter and can enter self-remarks for each KPI. Once completed, an employee should submit the self-assessment. Submitted feedback cannot be modified at any instance. Manager and employees are required to set up one-on-one discussion to discuss the quarterly performance and the way forward for the employee. After the commencement of the discussion, the manager can open the one-on-one meeting tab on the action items page to enter the comments for the meeting. The manager on the same screen can also view the employee's self-assessment for reference. Manager can click on Manager Assessment for the employee and review the achievements and any self-assessment of the employee. The achieved target will show the target filled in by the employee during the self-assessment. Manager can also edit the achieved target of the employee. The manager, based on one-on-one discussion with the employee, can provide manager remarks for each of the KPIs set by the employee. The manager also has to choose a goal status for each KPI, which can be either lead, the employee has overachieved on the defined target; on track, the employee has achieved the defined target; lag, the employee has underachieved on the defined target. Once completed, the manager can save and submit their manager assessment. On completion of the manager assessment, the quarterly review is complete. Post this, the employee will be able to refer the manager comments in the system. Also, manager will be able to see the overall status of team's goals. Mid-year assessment, process workflow. Each employee is required to conduct a self-assessment at mid-year. In order to access the self-assessment page, the employee will have to proceed to My Action Items and click on the Self-Assessment button pertaining to mid-year review cycle. Once on this page, an employee would need to enter his achieved target till date and can enter self-remarks for each KPI. Achieved target added during the quarterly review would be shown by default, and the employees have to update the achievement for the mid-year. Employee has the option to provide the overall comments covering key achievements, development areas, and overall remarks in the self-assessment. Once completed, an employee can submit the self-assessment. After submission, no changes are possible. Manager and employees are required to set up one-on-one discussion to discuss the half-yearly performance and the way forward for the employee. After the commencement of the discussion, the manager can open the one-on-one meeting tab on the My Action Items page to enter the comments for the meeting. The manager on the same screen can also view the employee self-assessment for reference. Manager can click on Manager Assessment for the employee and review the achievements and any self-assessment of the employee. The achieved target will show the target filled in by the employee during the self-assessment. If required, manager can edit the achieved target employee. The manager, based on the one-on-one discussion with the employee, can provide manager remarks for each of the KPIs set by the employee. The manager also has to choose a goal status for each KPI, which can be either lead, on track, or lag. Once completed, the manager can save and submit their manager assessment. The manager is required to create an employee development plan for each of his employees. In order to access the employee development page, the manager will have to proceed to My Action Items and click on the Employee Development Plan button. The manager will have to identify and add key behavioral and functional development areas basis the one-on-one discussion for each employee, along with the necessary action steps and the support required, if any. Once completed, the manager can save and submit their finalized employee development plan. Year-end assessment, process workflow. For the year-end review, each employee should nominate their stakeholders who can provide their inputs on employees' performance. Click on the Stakeholder Nomination button in My Action Items page. You can search for the employees and click Add to choose them as your stakeholder. Employee can also use the filters like organization unit, location, and designation to simplify the search. Once the required stakeholders are added to the list, you can click Send for Approval button and submit it to your manager. Manager should log in and click on the Approve Stakeholders button in My Action Items page. The manager can accept or reject each of the stakeholders nominated. The manager can also bulk approve stakeholders in case of multiple nominations. Once the manager approves, this list becomes the final list of stakeholders to provide feedback. Each employee is required to conduct a self-assessment at the year end. In order to access the self-assessment page, the employee will have to proceed to My Action Items and click on the Self-Assessment button. Once on this page, an employee would need to enter his achieved target for year end along with remarks for each KPI. The employee is also required to provide a self-rating based on the performance throughout the year. The rating guidelines for KPIs and Vedanta values can be referred by clicking the icon next to Rating drop-down. The achieved target is displaying the Quarter 3 achievement by default. Employee will update the year-end achievement. The employee is also required to enter overall comments for his or her performance. In addition, the employee can also share their career aspirations in the Career Aspiration section. Once completed, an employee should submit their self-assessment. Stakeholders will get the notification from the system to provide their feedback for the employees. To provide the stakeholder assessment, you have to log into the system and click the Stakeholder Assessment link in My Action Items page. The stakeholders to provide feedback for relevant KPIs or values which they would have observed during the engagement with the employee. Additionally, the stakeholder needs to provide his overall comments on the employee's performance. Once completed, a stakeholder should submit their stakeholder assessment. Once the stakeholders have provided the assessment, manager and employees can set up one-on-one discussion to discuss the yearly performance and the way forward for the employee. Managers are advised to only conduct the meeting post-reception of enough number of stakeholder feedbacks. After the commencement of the discussion, the manager is required to open the one-on-one meeting tab on the My Action Items page to enter the comments for the meeting. The manager on the same screen can also view the employee's self-assessment for reference. Manager can click on Manager Assessment for the employee and review the achievements and any self-assessment of the employee. The achieved target will show the target filled in by the employee during the self-assessment. Manager can also edit the achieved target of the employee. The manager, based on one-on-one discussion with the employee, can provide manager remarks for each of the KPIs set by the employee. The manager also has to choose a goal status for each KPI, which can be either lead, the employee has overachieved on the defined target; on track, the employee has achieved the defined target; lag, the employee has underachieved on the defined target. Once completed, the manager can save and submit their manager assessment. On completion of the manager assessment, the quarterly review is complete. Post this, the employee will be able to refer the manager comments in the system. Also, manager will be able to see the overall status of team's goals. The employee has to fill in the acknowledgement form which talks about the manager inputs, development areas and the meeting acceptance. To provide the employee acknowledgement, click the Employee Acknowledgement link from My Action Items page. Employees have to fill in their feedback and submit. On submission, the annual assessment is complete. Employees can view the manager comments for the year-end review in the system anytime post the review cycle. If you have any questions, please write to support@synergita.com and we will respond back to you as soon as possible.